I'm a big gangster. I turn around with that foreign love. Cocaine a slanger. 100 of them just ordered up. Surrounded by the angels. Diamonds on when I'm talking love. She won't be my little baby, but I'm afraid to fall in love. Say I only get excited when the pack touchdown. Pray that we don't get indicted in the trap uptown. Bitch, I'm a big gangster.
Yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy Ace today, back with some more Madden 21 Next Gen content for you guys today. We have a team that you guys are very familiar with here on the channel, the Houston Texans, the team that we did a franchise with on current gen. However, we ended up winning a Super Bowl with them on current gen. And yeah, man, I mean, like, we were pretty close with this team when it came down to it. We made a couple of moves and stuff like that, turned them into an absolute god squad. I think we finished the regular season 14-2, took them to the Super Bowl, and well, if you guys want to catch up on that series, I won't ruin it for you. We had some pretty close games. We had some pretty good rivalries too throughout the series, so make sure to go check that out on the channel. But let's get right into it, guys. The Houston Texans finishing the season 4-12, man. I mean, not the season a lot of people were thinking of, but when you get your head coach, you know, pretty much fired within the first couple of weeks, and you kind of knew before the season even started that Bill O'Brien was going to be out of there, it makes it tougher for a team to have that glow up. You know, basically they made the playoffs last year, and everybody thought they were going to be a playoff team again with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is highly underrated in the NFL and is actually, in my opinion, when all is said and done, if he can get maybe, you know, a weapon or two, or just, you know, a coach that understands his strengths and can get rid of his weaknesses and even just progress him a little more, Deshaun Watson could be a top 5 QB in the NFL, man. I mean, look at these numbers that he has been posting up with a subpar team. Now, before we get into the in-depth stats part of the video for right now, because I'm going to bring up Deshaun's stats because this guy is just unbelievably underrated, and a lot of people aren't talking about that because even though the team finished 4-12, even J.J. Watt felt some type of way like they could have won at least 11 games, but the defense is just absolutely horrid. So let's just get into these Deshaun Watson stats now. Before we even get into that, they lost DeAndre Hopkins before the season started. So you got to take that into consideration. Deshaun Watson just lost a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL at that position, man. He had a total of 3,800 yards last year to go with 26 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, and had a down year from the previous year in 2018 where he had 4,100 yards, 26 touchdowns once again, and only 9 interceptions. Now, the quarterback rating for those 2 years, in 2018 he had a 103, and in 2019 he had a 98. Now, fast forward to this year. Brandon Cooks at wide receiver. They also had Hanson at wide receiver. Darren Fells at tight end. And after that, it gets kind of thin. Kute is kind of good. Sorry if I butchered that name. He's all right. He's definitely a decent slot wide receiver. But after losing someone like Hopkins, you think these numbers would decline and basically, you know, be nowhere close to this, maybe a little under, maybe around the same kind of thing if you think Watson was good enough already. But he excelled this year after losing DeAndre Hopkins. 4,800 yards. He led the NFL in passing yards to go with 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. These are only the passing stats. So he had probably around like 40 touchdowns altogether when all is said and done. I know he probably had a couple of rushing touchdowns. He's a dual threat QB. And to go along with that, he had a 112 rating, a bunch of career highs. He had the lowest interceptions in his career. He had the highest amount of touchdowns and the highest amount of yards in his career. Insane coming out of Watson. Some people would say he's wasting his career in Houston, but people like me are pretty enthusiastic. Now, it's going to be pretty tough rebuilding that team. However, I am going to say this. David Johnson has been playing outstanding towards the end of the year. He kind of looked like his 2018 self when he was with the Arizona Cardinals. So hopefully he can start getting some of that energy back and providing them with the run game that they need. And pairing him with someone like Duke Johnson is an incredible opportunity. Duke Johnson's incredible receiving back, in my opinion. And if he needs to get you yards, he will get you yards. So David Johnson and Duke Johnson definitely heading that backfield. I do not see any problem with that running back committee. Wide receivers, of course, they could always upgrade that receiver spot. One option that is particularly interesting is the wide receivers in free agency. I'm going to name 2 big name receivers that if I was the Houston Texans, I would go out of my way and get to help Deshaun. And those 2 names are Chris Godwin and Allen Robinson, 2 perfect fits for the Houston Texans. That would also help Brandon Cooks go crazier as well. Brandon Cooks popped off. I think he had like 300 receiving yards across the last 2 games of the season with a combined like 4 or 5 touchdowns to go along with that. So that offense is really not bad. I mean, honestly, that is the reason why they even won 4 games this year. And even though they won those 4 games, they do not have that first round pick. So it's going to be tough for Houston in the offseason to see what they do. However, I think it's an intriguing job opportunity for a young head coach to come in and basically just make a statement. Because Deshaun Watson at quarterback, you're basically set up already with a franchise quarterback with a pretty decent offense, in my opinion. The only thing that is going to be struggled with is that defense, because we all know why the Houston Texans are not that good. Their secondary always, year after year, is the downfall of the Houston Texans. And, you know, they had Tyrann Mathieu for 1 year. After that, just everything goes downhill for that secondary, and we just see it. I mean, I don't know if they're going to even be able to rebuild their defense or just get a couple of pieces to be able to contend next year. I kind of see them being like an average, like 8-8 team. I think Deshaun's even going to have an even better year next year, in my opinion, if they get him maybe like a receiver or 2 in the offseason, or just like, you know, upgrade the line. Stuff that's basically just helped Deshaun. He just has nothing in Houston, and he makes quarterbacks like Carson Wentz look sorry, because this guy has had nothing for years. Then again, he had DeAndre Hopkins, so he did have a receiver. But this guy had absolutely nobody this year, and he just went ahead and popped off and had a career high in every single stat. So they have a franchise quarterback. It just comes down to that defense, and I'm going to get into something that really ticked me off in the past weekend, being a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Houston Texans defensive end J.J. Watt went on national television, and when he was talking to reporters, basically threw it out there last week, in Week 16, that the Houston Texans need to try their asses off every single game. It doesn't matter where they're at, all the way up until Week 17, they need to give it their all. Now, when you are a team like the Houston Texans, no offense, Texans fans, you guys kind of don't have anything to look forward to when it comes to the offseason. I'm not even sure if the Texans have enough cap space to go out and get some of those options that I was talking about earlier. So for J.J. Watt to go out there and say play hard, honestly, yeah, play hard. You need to go play hard because you are playing for absolutely nothing. While now you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you need to play to drop from 9 to 6. You need to lose this game so you can drop from the 9th pick all the way to the 6th pick so you can secure a good wide receiver, which is what they need. And the biggest problem with J.J. Watt's statement, in my opinion, is that this guy talks about effort and stuff like that. And, you know, you guys see the post-game clip of him going up to Deshaun saying that we would have won 11 games. There is a clip. I want you to go and watch Ryan Tannehill's rushing touchdown from Week 17. Did J.J. Watt show effort in Week 17? You guys let me know. Now, here's another thing you need to take into thought about this, is when people are comparing the Eagles to the Texans. Eagles had something to play for, Texans didn't. Now, when people are using Houston as an example, J.J. Watt didn't say anything about the Eagles, but people are using his words as an example for how the Eagles should have played their game. J.J. Watt gave up on a Ryan Tannehill touchdown late in the game on 3rd and goal, I believe. If not, it was 2nd and goal or whatever. J.J. Watt gave up on that play. Let up a touchdown, and I'm pretty sure that helped boost the Titans' chance of winning that game. Now, the other thing, the Houston Texans defense got railed in Week 17. The offense is only what kept them in that game. So these analysts like Dan Orlovsky, Rex Ryan, Ryan Clark that are using examples like the Houston Texans, please find a new interest. Find a new talking point. Find a new subject. The Houston Texans are not going to work. They just don't. I mean, J.J. Watt looked like an absolute joke on that play to me. I just can't understand why people would use him as an example, and the things that he has been talking about for the last 2 weeks make no sense. But I know we got a little serious. I know I got a little heated right there. However, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I just had to get that off my chest, man. Being an Eagles fan is so tough, especially with what the team is doing nowadays. Do I hate Dougie for it? Honestly, I don't. I think he's going to come back with the fire, and that's all I'm going to say on that topic for now. When we get to the Eagles, I'll address it even more. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video, guys. Peace out.